Learn to be okay with change. Learn to be okay with your growth. Learn to be okay with becoming a very, intellectual, high vibrational individual. It's okay to recognize that what you were doing before does not define you or bring you true happiness and peace. Learning to be okay with who you are. A lot of people are afraid to really showcase their who they are. They're afraid of because of being judged. They're afraid to just step out on faith and do what makes them happy. In the last couple of years of my life, I realized that things have not always been sweet. I remember walking in the path of my purpose and really trying to figure out who I was and going into a different, you know, a different path. And a lot of people didn't really understand that. I had a lot of people who kind of just, they thought I was on some BS. They probably didn't really understand what I was doing. But when I went within and started getting closer, even more closer to God than I was before, because I've always had a very spiritual connection with God. But when I decided to just, let go of every part of me and say, you know what, let me surrender, that's when I became more aware of who I was. I didn't care what people had to say. And one of the biggest things that I had to understand is walking the path alone. Like, I had to walk alone. And I was praying and meditating and remember talking to God and saying, there's people who I thought I could never feel like I needed all the time. But when God came to me and said, you don't need nobody but me, I was okay with that. I was okay with being the eyeball. I was okay with feeling like the scapegoat. I was okay with, not being invited. I was okay with, people making it feel like making me feel like I was the bad guy. I was okay with all of that because I knew that I had a higher purpose. I knew the path that I was going on because God was in my heart. And it felt so real. And at that moment in my life, the transition was for the better. Never be afraid to feel